And at first she was really, she was like, why would anyone want to follow?
The reality that's being presented to you on the screen isn't just a story that's being told to you, but something that you have to decode, something that you have to figure out, something that you maybe can't trust.
Regular people, mums and dads, young people, old people, all on the streets, all
people, just like Tchaikovsky.
That's so annoying.
People differ on, different groups believe different conspiracy
I really don't believe he's just making this stuff up. I think the bones that we've been finding throughout the thousands of years.
Orchestrated by Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. Using the rationale, it's true or he'd sue, Lightfoot basically only has a case because King and Chapman look vaguely similar.
These messages were coming up on all
75% conspiracy theory belief in almost every socioeconomic and racial.
A North Carolina man arrested in a DC pizza shop.
So every year Americans eat more than 1 billion chicken wings during the or the big game if you're a lawyer-fearing content creator such as myself.
The island has everything from swimming pools to basketball courts.
It's not out of the ordinary for talking toys to sound a bit.
Also, you see the January 6th insurrection where people are lied to about a conspiracy theory by their elected officials.
Who is presented as having been persecuted by Anthony Fauci, among other scientists.
JFK assassination, the fake moon land, the Freemasons, chemtrails, CIA mind control, rigged election, Area 51. Once you get going, it's easy to see secret plots and shadowy...
But until it's confirmed, it's yet another wacky internet theory.
If you really, really want to ensure your privacy, it's best to leave the smartphones behind too. Location.
Over the information that was fed to them. In the 9/11 truth movement.
Tendencies to accept conspiracy theories, and it's worked for him.
This is your mom's side of the family?
Yes.
The Vanderbilts?
Yes.
For those...
This is happening in the world's strong.
Sure you were, Rummy.
We've already listed the standards in our top 10 conspiracies of all time video. 9/11 was an inside job, JFK's assassination.
Well, in The Little Mermaid, Ariel's father, Triton, is the son of...
In fact, experts have charted a model for how conspiracy theories work and how they can get out of control.
Which allows rich criminals to launder their cash in such a way that the government can...
It really was rigged against Donald Trump.
We have not seen fraud on a scale
that suggest people have hidden or brought about a certain event or situation.
QAnon chat rooms claim that COVID-19 is a hoax.
Aldrin and Armstrong wanted to get out of that thing as fast as they could.
But then things get worse and they're shipped off to Sunnyside Daycare, which may look like a not-so-bad...
Biological factors explain the twin phenomenon.
In all, Mengele murdered 3,000 twins. Some after chemicals were injected.
You'd say, what about the fact that if you fly in one direction long enough, you end up in the same
product categories and advertisers who show ads based on those categories.
After several decades of propaganda, lies, and official denials, the truth about one of humanity's greatest achievements can now be told.
Given the Soviet...
If it were not for the conspiracy theories about it.
And some theorists believe longtime FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was involved.
May have provided the evidence. The authority could be a person or it could be...
Obviously, this is an insane racist family.
So how do you tell when there's real conspiracy and when you're dealing with false ones?
According to news reports, some restaurants are enlisting a Russian lab to 3D bioprint chicken meat. Soon the chicken you eat won't even be chicken, it'll be ones and zeros covered in 11 herbs and spices.
Originated at a live animal market where it's some...
Did you know there's even a conspiracy theory about the invention of the...
And I'm a researcher and lecturer at Duke University.
He believes the Vatican has fallen and the Pope has been arrested.
I very much wanted to do something about it.
After serving tours in Iraq and Afghanistan... Social media is full of memes designed to get people to post photos.
Bizarrely, the embalmed body ended up being mummified and was exhibited at carnivals...
The hope is that if the democratic process is well funded...
Now we're having arguments on reality and what is real and what is not.
We are grappling with the big lie.
Tens of millions.
If you haven't heard the Requiem...
First, she shared this now debunked video of an alternative doctor in March.
Because he was clearly still alive. And speaking of people who are also allegedly still alive, let's playing with the band Weezer. The main evidence, Weezer's breakthrough Blue album was released very soon after Cobain's...
I'm right now, the last couple months, I've been...
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Supporters of QAnon were out in full
or like very specified biological weapons delivery. And
It's really amazing work. The engineers modeled every little detail.
It was largely a leftist idea because we had a Republican president, because George.
Inevitably, people start connecting one with the other.
Given that this topic was a persistent one for families throughout the decade, it sort of makes sense, but in reality...
Chris Buck would elaborate later on that in his own little version of events, the king and queen would eventually find themselves stranded on a tropical shore and would later take refuge on a...
Notice the brightness of the sun as it's reflected.
Conspiracy theories have largely dominated the last 4 years of Mr.
All kind of studies are already shown people is going to be catching cancer.
The American people have always been obsessed with conspiracy.
Messing around with this idea of cognitive dissonance. This is to say you have a world.
Thank you for meeting me here in this parking garage so the government can't survive.
Today, conspiracy theories. Why do people believe them? And are they helping or hurting society?
Very off, I'm sorry. But that was my thoughts.
The anti-vax movement started in 1998 when
it's creeping into the mainstream of political conversations.
Just this past weekend, Trump retweeted QAnon dozens of times.
Who modeled his frozen dystopia's lifeboat on Wonka's self-sustaining?
People who faked the moon landing couldn't gin up a couple of phony photos. Wake up, sheeple!
I grew up in the upper Midwest. I can see where they're coming from here.
Are designed to prey on your pre-established suspicion.
The Protocols of the Elders of Zion,
movie certainly of the 1960s, is John Frankenheimer's The Manchurian Candidate, which is...
Documentation revealed that one of the balloons from Project Mogul was never officially recovered.
Whenever there's a high level of anxiety and
North Pole is the center of the play.
Every single photo taken from space.
Opting out of the ads doesn't actually opt your emails out of being scanned either, but they're not being watched by sneaky hackers or foreign government.
Illusion, not just of realism, but of the documentation of reality, even though it's an entirely scripted and acted, and in that...
Including playwright Christopher Marlowe. The Marlovian theory...
He doesn't have a birth certificate, or he hasn't shown it.
This topic was the first place winner of last week's voting poll.
I actually stopped at Barnes & Noble down the block as I was coming.
Crazy lie that has hung over the head of every single Jewish person ever since.
Those Trump supporters you see waving around the letter Q are followers of...
which monitored the beliefs of a UFO cult after the mothership failed to show up on the predicted...
This was during 1947.
There isn't one coherent 5G conspiracy.
Has taken root firmly on the fringes of the American right.
Where we go one, we go.
Then he died.
Rest in peace, Black the Ripper, and respect for speaking the truth.
And today, we're going to talk about some of the conspiracy theories that surround...
That's just what they want you to believe.
Along with everything that ever happened during those years...
is probably not coming back.
Newsnight has seen data that shows a huge spike in interest in this conspiracy theory.
And legitimizing a host of conspiracy theories.
A hypothesis is falsifiable if you could imagine a way to prove...
They come back, they put a new hat on. They come back, they put a...
You type and symbols come up. For example, if you type capital NYC...
The article claimed that Beanie Babies were actually filled with eggs from the brown recluse spider, eggs that were due to hatch 20 years...
The more varied the dedication of the participants in the conspiracy.
In the world of Utopia, the fictional biotech company Christie Labs, headed up by the one and only John Cusack as Dr. Kevin Christie, is creating a...
Because it turns out that Nazis had UFOs as early as 1930 and
will rise to the challenge and try to push their own agenda.
When this all-black image supposedly giving coordinates.
Brad Pitt, Illuminati or alien.
Now is autistic.
Recently, many of Trump's supporters...
Which is why there's a lot of evidence that when there's a correction of a conspiracy...
Nelson Rockefeller doesn't put announcements.
Sure, there are birth announcements all the time.
I've never seen one.
The Protocols was proven to be a hoax in 1921. It was most likely the work of the Russian Empire's secret police, looking to whip up support for the Tsar by scapegoating a minority.
Yesterday to the Capitol building, at the Capitol building. Do you see this in a way as the chickens coming home to roost, a culmination?
And even if they have a reality check from some external source.
True believer conspiracy theory thing. There was a couple of times where I had to escort people off my property at gunpoint.
When Metheny tried to step in to calm things down, he was accused.
I saw all the composers do this. I know, this is like, I'm not good.
Pokemon are everywhere.
Well, buckle up, because things are about to get finger-licking weird.
Sort of revived the whole industry of Kennedy.
In cases where violence is actually possible.
That's not enough. Not enough proof. There's even someone in the NFL, I don't know if he's...
That I had to turn off the comment section as it went...
You can't believe what we're finding, Dad! Their rocks have juice in them!
Going on, now I understand it. Now I don't have to feel some movies about bioterrorism. That's not completely crazy. It could happen.
Diego Garcia is owned by the British, but home to the U.S. Navy and Air Force.
In July 2011, Anders Breivik murdered 77 people.
I think it'll be good because it's a little different when you actually get to hear.
It turned out that electric light bulbs don't cause the flow.
Historians dispute the idea that Mengele ever actually
is apparently real. We're now learning Area 51, America's capital city for...
Conspiracy theory belief does cut across a wide swath of the population, and in the US, the most recent...
Strawberry fields forever. By the way, the Beatles say that John isn't saying I buried Paul.